Hey everyone, Shawn McBride here. Welcome to another edition of the Non-Traditional Social Media Show, where we look at the other side of social media, right? We've all seen the standard advice. We've all seen the standard things that people do. We want to take a look at the other side. Today I have Mitchell Levy joining me. He talks a lot about positioning your credibility. He's got a new product, in fact, coming out for LinkedIn to help you build that, because I think that's such an important and missed piece, right? You can get out there, do a lot of social media content, but are you connecting the dots to other people, and are you really getting them to look at you in the right way when they see what you've put out there? So, Mitchell, I'm going to give you a second to introduce yourself. First, I want to encourage anybody that is watching live or on the replay, let us know where you're watching from, and let us know what positioning questions you have, because we'll try to work them into the chat today. Mitchell, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Shawn. Nice to see you again. Great to be here. Your background is so cool, by the way.
It took me a while to figure out what
credibility, doesn't matter what those diplomas are that you have. Showing credibility is you don't have to say anything, right?
I got law licenses and bar licenses up there. I don't actually have any diplomas. They're all licenses.
It works. It makes the person on the other side go, "Oh, this guy must be." And then fill in the blank. Credible, capable, learning, right?
Yeah.
Lifelong learner. I mean, it's you. The person on the other side fills in their own blank of, "Hey, is this somebody I want to interact with?" So,
there you go. And I think that's fundamental to today's discussion, right? That's what we're trying to do, right? Is when people start filling in the blanks, to help them have the information to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I'll just give a teeny bit of background since you mentioned. So, Mitchell Levy, global credibility expert. I have a single word that I'm focused on. I have a single point of view, and that word is credibility. And it's one of those interesting things. We haven't had enough people thinking about this, talking about this. I am close to the tail end of wrapping up 500 interviews with thought leaders on credibility. Our Shawn was certainly one of them, which was beautiful, and he was great. And technically at the moment, I'm at 393, but if you add the people who are in the queue, I'm over 500. And there's a couple of things that have come out of it, but I'm gonna summarize one with an interesting catchphrase, and that is to show up when you show up. So that means when you have appointments, come early. Be prepared and come with your heart. And I could drive into more of that detail. The other thing I'm going to say is, what you need to do is to make sure that the best way to think about this, if you're in business today, and by the way, you need to be in business, you need to have multiple revenue streams if you want to survive in the post-COVID world, right? There's no other way to be. So if you're in business, people need to immediately see who you are and get a feeling about who you are and how you. And it's not personal branding. It's, you don't have to shout from the rooftops, "I'm super cool, hire me." That doesn't work in today's world. So what you want to do is you want to give people the opportunity to know, like, and trust you. And once they do that, then you can get to that conversation.
I get it, and I think that's important, right? I mean, know, like, trust is such a well-used phrase, and because for good reasons. It is the fundamental of how you move through a sale process, right? They know you, then they like you, then they trust you. And you're right. I mean, there is a subtlety to it. Shouting that you're the greatest will not get you any credibility. Sending somebody a LinkedIn message telling them that you're great at something, "Hey, buy my product." I see a lot of that out there, and it hasn't worked for me. I don't know what your experience is.
No, although, Shawn, I have to tell you, every now and then I'll say, "Oh, sure, tell me more. Let's get on the call."
Yeah.
But what I do is I prep the stage, because sometimes I know this sounds silly. It's interesting to hear if somebody is brave enough to knock on you pre-COVID. If somebody's brave enough to knock on your door, sometimes it's good to listen to them, to see where their passion is, see what their cause is. If somebody is moving forward in that way, hearing their pitch, but the prelim work, Shawn, as I say, I will be happy to talk to you if you're willing to talk about synergy.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
And then one of the things I said, which was interesting, is I said, "Come early to our meeting." So I'm sitting here waiting, 10 minutes early. Come early, come prepared, and come with your heart.
Right.
So, because if you don't come with your heart, they can't see you. They can't see you. They can't know you. They can't know you. They can't trust you. They can't trust you. They will not do business with you. So,
Sure.
if you come in prepared, so this is the most important thing. If somebody wants to sell me something and they have not Googled me or looked at at the very minimum, my LinkedIn profile to see what it says,
Yep.
and the first thing they do is say, "Tell me about what you do so I could sell you my product." Trust me, the conversation is not going to go the way they want it to.
Yeah. I mean, I tell you, I mean, LinkedIn messages are just a pet peeve of mine, but I get a lot of, you know, I sell to accountants like you, and it may be blurry or not on the screen, but I do have an accounting license back here, but I don't practice as an accountant, right? I mean, it's ancillary to what I do. So I know somebody hasn't read any of my material because there's nothing out there about me helping people as an accountant. I mean, it's a license I hold. I am an accountant. Occasionally you'll find me in an accountants group because I've met accountants along the way and they've invited me into accountants groups on Facebook or something. So, but that's somebody that's done no research. And then of course the other one with me is
Oh,
you
by
look
the
at
way,
my,
even if you were practicing accountancy, there are no accountants like you.
that's right. Because I mean, that's right. And well, I think that's true for, we all should be unique and different in business, but me especially, I push on that uniqueness element.
Yeah.
The other one I get is, of course, you see my name, Shawn McBride, which is something my audiences gave me one time. I was speaking, I had my first initial, and they converted it to OUR. Well, I'm lucky because I can quickly spot the form messages because they'll come to or they'll come to R or something like that. It won't actually be addressed to me. So because I guess their software is picking up the name field wrong and they don't know how to address me in their computerized outbound messaging.
But Shawn, here's what I'm going to say. I'm not offended. Right now, technology is just not great enough to make that stuff perfect.
Yeah.
I'm not as offended about that stuff, assuming as soon as there's a possibility of this happening, that they turn into humans.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the question is, at what point do they turn into humans? And I just, I understand automation. I understand sending stuff out there, but you would think at a very least, if you're sending out an automated message, you'd be glancing at the names, glancing at their profiles, and seeing if it's somebody you might want to do business with. But I have a feeling most people are running the automation sequence before they even look at the profile, which I think that's how a lot of us get off put, right? And I don't even want to look at their credibility at that point.
I was gonna say it could be, but here's the interest. So for me, I don't know about where your business lies in terms of all your clients. Most of the clients in the B2B space are using LinkedIn. I mean, I do understand the Facebook and the Twitter and the Instagram, and I have people I work with who predominantly use something other than LinkedIn.
Yep.
But on the interviews, 98% focus primarily on LinkedIn as a vehicle.
Sure.
And then what happens is, and let's even go further, 99%, it could even be 99.5% of LinkedIn profiles suck.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And we were talking about this earlier. Yes.
Yeah. So here's what I want to say. And I may not have ever told this to you before, Shawn. It's one of those things I just recently realized I needed. Actually, it's when I was putting this course together, I realized I've never told anyone, or just occasionally. So I was sitting in LinkedIn's offices before LinkedIn was making money with the founders who commissioned my firm to write LinkedIn's first book.
Wow. Interesting.
And and by the way, if you're an entrepreneur, you're going to say, Mitchell, did you take stock? Here's what I'm going to say. I asked 3 times, don't pay me money. I'd rather have stock. And then the third rejection, I go, okay, fine, guys, write me a check.
Okay.
So I could just say I asked.
Usually the conversation goes the other way, but you saw the value in LinkedIn early on.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah, normally hey, can I give you a stock? Well, dude, I don't think I'm happy to work for you, but give me cash. In this particular case, it was obvious. Something I did not expect it to be as big or broad or where it is today. But it was going to be something significant. And since then, I've looked at over 100,000 LinkedIn profiles. So what's really interesting, it is so easy to tell. And then, Shawn, here's one of the things that really helped me fine tune that messaging. In the interviews I do, so for those that want to go to thoughtleaderlife.com, You can actually see the research, the reports that came back, the people we're interviewing, the credibility sizzle reels, so I call them cred reels, that we create. And what happens is it is a simple 5 questions. By the way, not so simple, because you actually have to think about it and prepare for it. And I have a 13-minute video on how to prepare for the 6 to 8 minute cred reel.
Okay.
And what happens is I get to know people really well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In order to show yourself, a credibility sizzle reel is designed not to create sizzle like a speaker sizzle reel does. It's designed to make you shine as a human.
Yep.
Right. And so I get to see you. And if I get to see you, I get to see who you really are versus potentially who you show on your LinkedIn profile.
Right. Yeah.
And that's the piece that just of all the 2 products came out of the interviews. One was actually creating a cred reel and being able to charge for that. The second is, first thing I did is create a LinkedIn course, which is just absolutely coming out right now. And here's my guarantee. And it's an hour course. If you don't think about a LinkedIn profile differently, I'll give you your money back.
Okay.
And it's an hour.
Yeah.
Right. And here's the interesting part. So do you mind if I share you 2 of our beta testers' feedback?
Of course.
All right.
This is just interesting. Yeah, I love it.
So all right. So first, 1 hour course.
Yep.
One of the first women who looked at it said, Mitchell, I'm only 46% of the way done with the course. 46, like it's an hour, right? You could do it. I'm only 46% of the way done with the course. I realize how crappy my LinkedIn profile is. You've given me too much stuff to think about. I'm going to need to come back tomorrow.
Okay. Wow.
That's when I kind of realized, it's dense, right? In terms of thinking about, for someone like you looking at your profile, you would get this right away. But if you haven't really thought this way before, it takes a while to think through. Here's the second person. This was even as beautiful. Mitchell, this is once he was done, I've had a number of thought leaders who I've admired and followed for years. After taking your course and looking at their LinkedIn profiles, they kind of suck. Yeah. and he goes, I'm having a hard time sort of reconciling now. And it was just interesting to think through this way. So the guarantee is it'll help you think about your LinkedIn profile and others differently.
Yeah. And you got to think LinkedIn is a gateway for a lot of people's credibility, just because that's where a lot of first communications happen. We were talking about that earlier, right? Whether it's that message, but a lot of times it's an introduction, right? Hey, go talk to Joe or go talk to Mary, and you go check out Joe or Mary's LinkedIn, right? And you're like, who is this person? And you're reading through it.
What I used to do, and I think even when I met you, like I got your name, I hadn't known you before. So I got your name. I go to my computer after I have my card, I go at night and I Google you. Right. And then I try to figure out, I look at your site, I look at other things. And a lot of times, and right now, because LinkedIn and the social media companies spend so much money tying your name to their platform, typically your LinkedIn profile would come up. Now I end up actually going to LinkedIn first. Okay. And so I go to LinkedIn, I type your name. Who is this person? Yep. And some of those profiles are so anemic. It's kind of like, well, is this somebody I want to be a partner with? Because a partner, I want to highlight my partners. Sure. And if a LinkedIn profile is so anemic, I can't actually partner with you because I don't want my prospects to see your LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, I think that's true, right? You do have to, and I talk about that. In fact, I did a video the other day about picking your partners, and that was number 1 is vet your partners. Figure out who this partner is, and if it's somebody you want to do business with. And I can certainly see, it makes sense. If their social media doesn't look good or it doesn't showcase them in a good light, it could bring your brand and reputation down.
Well, you said it before. It's vetting partners. A, the know, like, trust. Yep. B, how do they show up? Like, what will they do in terms of your brand? The third thing, the biggest thing for partners is I always run an experiment first. An experiment always involves having a client. So a joint, let's say you and I did something together, we would have a joint client we'd work on, and sometime during that engagement, shit will hit the fan. It just does all the time.
Right, of course.
What makes it interesting for me to want to continue to be your partner, if you're in the room and not me, that you're saying the same things I would say, even though I'm not in the room, and vice versa. And that's what makes a good partnership.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, you gotta like each other. Of course, there's something to be said for different personality styles. I mean, I've used partners a lot in negotiations because I have one style, they have a different style. And, one trick I'll tell people in negotiations is swap somebody out, right? Go from one personality style to the other to refresh the conversation and to cause a new direction in there. So, yeah, but I mean, it's got to be somebody I trust. I got to trust their decision making. A lot of times my partners might make a different decision than I would, but if I trust their decision making and I believe in their process, then I'm okay with it.
Yes, I buy into that.
Yeah, it's a matter of style, but yes. But again, it all comes back to what we started with, which is this person has to have credibility, and I've got to trust them, or else I'm not even going to be partners with them. I'm not sending somebody into a negotiation unless first they had the credibility to open the conversation, then we built the trust.
Do you think it makes sense? So listening to this and seeing that we have such little time left, what I'm thinking about is maybe I should give the definition of credibility.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Yeah.
So
we should have started with the definition, but
that's okay, because everyone thinks honestly, we all think we know what this is. And largely it's not too dissimilar. So I did a TED talk back in end of 2017, 2018. And in that talk, one of the things I highlighted is we do business we know, like, and trust. And so it got me thinking about trust. Mm-hmm. And essentially, trust is the demonstration of credibility, according to the dictionary.
Yeah. Okay. So
I go, okay, well then how do we define credibility? So how I defined trust, because it's a demonstration of credibility, it's the combination of authenticity, integrity, and vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right. And so generally speaking, that was kind of my definition of credibility. And then what I realized, there was one thing really missing, and that is commitment to say what you do and do what you say.
Yep.
And so and particularly in today's world, it's just not, there's so many competitors, there's so many potential partners, there's so much opportunity. You want to work with people who you just know they're not just going to be nice to you, or they don't have to be nice, but they have to be fair. They're not going to be just for you, but also the same with everyone else they interact with. Yeah. Right. And so those people you want to associate yourself with, those people who are credible, you could see that they don't know it all. They're vulnerable. You could see that they have integrity. You could see that they're authentic. They're not saying they do more or less. They're just honest of who they are. And they've got commitment. You can see that. You can feel that they act that way. And the LinkedIn profiles can pull that out. Videos can pull that out. Websites can pull that out. One of the most important things people can do is customer testimonials, because good video-based customer testimonials pull out credibility.
Yeah. I mean, I think that helps connect the dots. And I did some of those one day. It's probably time to do a few more of those and build up the database, because I haven't done them. It's been a couple years. So, but I mean, it helps connect the dots. So we're talking about a good LinkedIn profile. Now we're talking about some customer videos. What else is sitting out there to help somebody build a credibility, particularly in an online world?
So at the end of the day, for credibility, first, as I mentioned, is to show up when you show up. So you need to present well. So maybe the first thing you do, Google your name, see what pops up in the top 10. Hopefully you're in the top 10. Otherwise, you should try to figure that out. But when people Google you and they get to you, what do you look like? In the past, we've been told that you design your Twitter account and your Instagram account, because it's different audiences, differently than you design your LinkedIn account. Guess what? That's not true.
Yeah.
If I see you and I want to find out who you are, and my predominant platform is not your predominant platform, I want to see the same way you present yourself. So probably the most important thing is how you actually show up.
Yep.
The second is actually how you show up. How do you show up for a interview? How do you show up for meetings with your partners or your clients? I mean, how do you represent yourself? If you say, I'll take notes, and then a week later, you've not sent those notes out, that's
Yeah.
showing a lack of commitment, right? So it's kind of to me, credibility is not just how you look, but how you act. It's
Yep.
who you are. It's that probably the most interesting way to say it is just to be more human.
Yep.
Good humans, servant leaders might be a good way to think about the
Mhm.
world of being a
Yep.
good, credible person is a servant leader.
I love it, and here we're getting some positive audience feedback. So we love your feedback, positive or negative. Go ahead and comment on the non-traditional social media channel, but love the content. That's for you, Mitchell, because you're leading the charge here. I know you mentioned you have a new course coming out on LinkedIn. So you want to tell folks a little more about that and kind of how they can connect with you a little more?
Oh, sure. So my guarantee for those who are watching, get to the course. It's over at Thinkific. So I'll give you the URL, but I'll probably give you a better one to go at. It's just credibility.thinkific.com/LinkedIn. So
Okay.
credibility.thinkific.com/LinkedIn. But probably a better way to do it. If this is of interest to you, there are a number of things that we do. You can go to the sort of the holding page for me, which is mitchelllevy360.com.
There you go.
So that's my name, mitchelllevy360.com. You can see a customer testimonial videos of what we've done, connecting me on social. Truthfully, as of this minute, the LinkedIn course is not there. This is the green room conversation with Shawn,
Sure.
but probably within 5 minutes or whenever we're done, I'll go and fix that. So
Perfect. Yeah.
and I guess the course is it's about an hour. You could probably take longer as you're thinking it through, but it's the goal of the course is to completely change your mindset of how do you create an actual credible LinkedIn profile.
I love it. Power hour, right? You get a lot done in an hour. So that makes a lot of sense. Folks, go check it out. Of course, Mitchell Levy is on LinkedIn as well. So you can go find him over there. So drop your comments if you're watching it, if you watched it live, if you're on the recording, let us know what questions you have about credibility. We want to welcome you. We want to welcome your comments and ideas. We may cover them in future episodes. Mitchell, thanks for being such a fantastic guest. And for those of you out in the viewing audience, go ahead and give yourself a pat on the back for doing the hard work, investing in the future. Of course, make sure you're subscribed to the non-traditional social media channel where we'll be talking more about issues like this and how to build your business for the future. I'm Shawn McBride. I'll talk with you again very soon.
You're awesome. Thank you.